Welcome to BrainMachineNetwork.com.
Video is on. Audio is.
Hello and welcome to another
Oh, no,
episode
just
of
kidding.
Fuck Me in Your Asshole. I love a good thumb in the butt. Oh, my name is Leif. I take my shirt off for fun. Yeah. Let's see all 16 apps. Hello and welcome back to Beasts with Leif and Caitlin. Hello, my giggle prince. How are you?
Oh, Caitlin, I'm doing great. It's great to see you. I'm so happy you made me laugh. That's all I got. How are you? What's
I'm
up?
fine.
What's new?
I'm good. I'm living the dream. I
Oh, yeah.
showered today. First time, 3 days. Thank you.
Can I say thank you?
Yeah, you're welcome. The thing is, my hair, it gets to the perfect amount of volume, and so I don't want to shower and then start from scratch. It's
Yeah,
upsetting.
it's-
Sometimes when I got the good pony, you got to keep the pony going. Oh,
Yeah, curly hair. I do
Yep.
the same thing.
it's very fun. But really,
Yeah.
I could just put on a shower cap and bathe and not do the horse bath, which is
Nah.
just grab a baby wipe and hope for the best.
Nah.
And with that, I would love to introduce our guest today. Please welcome Mr. Mike Cannon.
Oh, thank you so much. The old baby wipe, that's the Planet Fitness shower.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I do. Yeah.
Oh my God, my grandma called it a horse bath.
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
But with baby wipe, I feel like I like Planet Fitness. Brings it into the 21st century.
Right. Well, it's an updated prostitute for sure.
Yeah.
Because they're not carrying around wet wipes in the 60s, I assume.
No, I would imagine not. But
It would
you know.
be funny if they just damped like paper towel before the day, put it in aluminum foil, stuffed it in their purse, and then later they're like, all right, this is good for my armpits.
This is for after John number 3. I'm just whatever. Dirty. I get it. Fine. I should.
I'm right
complaints.
there. I'm right there with you. Because showering is also like it's rewarding kind of, but
Yes.
it's very boring.
It's very boring, and my shower takes a long time to heat up. And so then I feel guilty for wasting the water.
But it's
I
not
don't
your
know what
fault.
to do. No, it's not my fault.
You live in a first world country. You want to have the first world hot water.
Yeah. What am I, barbarian? I shouldn't say that. That was. Oh, I got canceled. What is a
You just-
barbarian? Where does that
It's
come
people from Barbaria.
Yep.
Is that true?
It's totally fine.
That's who I'm talking about. Take them down. They've been on top for too long. Oh boy. Well, anywho, so Mike, you played sports.
I sure did.
Yeah.
And I still do, kind of.
Really?
I mean, everyone said I played in the New York Comedy Festival basketball tournament.
Oh, that seems like so much fun.
It was pretty fun, but there are more actual athletes in comedy than you would assume.
Yes.
Because the reason I'm friends, so me and Chris DiStefano, we like started together and became best friends really quickly in comedy, and the reason was in 2009 it was a nerd factory. Like everybody was wearing
Yeah.
X-Men shirts, everybody was into comic books. It was like that's what it was.
Yeah.
And so him and I sat next to each other at the Mocha Lounge up in Harlem, and we just like noticed each other had human man body frames. We were like, wait, did you play sports? He's like, yeah, did you? And I'm like, yeah, best friends.
Aw,
Yeah.
it's so easy for men.
I know.
That sounds so nice. I can't look at someone like Jill's calves and be like, look at those. Let's be friends. Those look meaty. I think she would hate me forever.
Can I say I would still like you to try?
Okay.
Just to
I know.
see. Just as an experiment.
Just see what
It's
happens.
like a
yeah.
social open mic.
Yeah. Okay.
Just see what
Yeah.
sticks.
Yeah, let's see if I can get run off the stage in 4 seconds. That's probably what's gonna happen. But
Oh.
okay, so you played Human Man. I like that. Sports bodies. You and Chris DiStefano. Yeah, he's huge though.
He also
muscularly. I didn't mean
he's
to.
he's got a good penis too though. I've seen that for sure. He sent
Oh, that's
me.
not what I meant. I didn't want to call him fat.
Oh no.
I'm very much worried
See,
about
I
people.
went straight for the dick.
Oh yeah.
You're gonna fit right in.
Yeah. No, he sent me pretty much every single dick pic that he sent into the world. He runs by me.
Do
Aw,
boys
that's
do
so-
that?
No,
that's so,
no, they don't.
So nice of him.
Yeah. It's just a part of our relationship.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh God.
It's good.
Real? It's a good dick.
It's a good dick for sure.
That's
and
great.
and also I'm desensitized to penis from my time growing up, both without the internet and also in sports. Because
Okay,
without the
yes.
internet, friends almost always jerked off in the same room because you'd
What?
only have one tape of porn and one TV. now it's like such a solitary thing where everybody has their own computer, so they're shameful in the dark by themselves watching porn and
Yeah.
having questions alone.
Yeah.
Where me and my buddies would just be bottomless, high-fiving.
Really? Did you high five another?
It was strangely a communal event.
Yeah. It really was.
Yeah, before the internet.
So weird.
Yeah,
It is.
Another thing women would never do.
No kidding, really?
Women would not masturbate in front of, or next to each other.
Right, yeah, I
no,
guess not.
there's too much
All right, fair.
apparatuses involved.
Well, that's also the problem is that women are, unfortunately, if you're not just staying up top, you have to kind of enter your own body.
Yes.
And that seems like more of a to-do than the gorilla technique of just yanking on yourself.
Yeah. Which some people just do just because they're uncomfy. You know, they
my
just,
friend Jimmy is 34 years old, has 2 kids, a normal job, and pulls on his dick more than any wild animal I've ever seen. It's like insane. I've never seen any other like non-primate do that.
Yeah. Have you ever sent Chris DiStefano a dick pic?
I don't think I've sent him a dick pic. I have sent him like an open asshole shot. Like that'll be my response. Like I'm big on those. Like dick pics are too.
That's just
it's
funny.
too easy.
Oh god, that must have surprised the fuck out of him.
Yeah, he didn't care for it.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Open
great.
asshole?
Yeah.
And I would imagine it's furry. I mean, you're not
Oh.
manscaping
Yeah.
down there.
I'm gonna say nothing good about it, but God, how funny to open that up and
Yeah.
get that.
Yeah, it's
Oh.
like the hills of Ireland, just lush, covered in greenery.
Kaylin, just for the heads up, careful with the messages I send you.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm going to make Steve look at it first. This is from Leif. Sure, we're coordinating our next pod, but is it not an asshole? Make sure. Well, I mean, the visual I'm going to go to sleep with tonight. I cannot wait. So you are from, I'm an excited lass, to keep it Irish. Thank you. I said lass. All right. You're from New York?
I am, yeah. I was born on the Upper West Side.
Oh, fancy bitch.
I know, same hospital as my son, actually, which is so crazy. We didn't even know that until after we had agreed that was where we wanted to have him.
Oh.
And then we found out that it used to be St. Luke's Roosevelt Hospital, and it had since been renamed to Mount Sinai West. Yeah.
Oh, and that's where little baby Mike was born.
Little baby boy.
Aw.
Yeah, I know.
And now a crew.
Crew, yeah.
He's
Little
a
baby
daddy,
crew.
Little baby crew.
I know.
Very adorable. Big eyes. So
Which-
cute.
Tying back to sports, he's actually named after my favorite movie character, who is from a 1986 BMX biking movie named Rad.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it's been my favorite movie since I was 4 years old. It's actually what taught me how to ride a two-wheeler. And I threw it out as a joke to my wife's Italian family, who I assumed wanted to name him like Cologeno or something, something insane. And all of her young cousins were like, baby crew, we love it, baby crew. And I'm like, fuck yes. So then I lobbied for Joseph because I was like, it's a good Italian name. Joseph is nice to offset it. It kind of brings it back to normal. But in my head, I'm like, athlete, Crew Joe Cannon.
Oh,
What's better than that?
God.
And no matter what he does,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
introducing himself as Crew Joe Cannon.
It's pretty dope.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, that could be his fashion line. I don't know, whatever he's going to
Yeah,
be into.
it just
It's
sounds
going to be
good.
pretty awesome.
Oh, a Crew Joe Cannon. See, you're thinking.
Yep.
That's great.
Yeah.
That is a
That's-
great name. That's the best name.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, well
That's the
done.
best
Best
name.
you could have done
All
with
right.
Cannon, I think. Yeah.
There were so many comics just being like, ugh.
Really?
And I'm like, yeah, that's fair. You don't have to live with it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm perfectly fine with
I
you not
kiss
liking
this
it.
forehead every night.
Yeah.
Okay, screw you. Crew Joe Cannon. Oh, that's very sweet. Okay, so you were a biker, I would
I
imagine.
did, yeah. I did some BMX when I was younger, because again, this is like pre-internet, so
Yeah.
you wouldn't be inside all day. In my neighborhood, my buddy and I, Timmy, and actually my now wife, Nicole, we would go from the time we were 10 on. We would just be biking around our neighborhood. We'd bike miles away to the school. There were like backwoods trails with jumps and berms and like all that stuff. So we used to go crazy with that stuff. It was awesome.
You seem like one of those kids that was just like, I'm gonna try everything, like real ADD-ish
Yeah.
type of always moving.
When I was 2 years old, those big wheels, the plastic big
Yeah.
wheels that like kids would ride. I was big for my size. My son is also big, but I was like a big kid when I was 2, and in a stroller. Parents thought I had like a legitimate disability
Yeah.
because I was so big. They're like, that that kid shouldn't be in a stroller. So, but I would take this big wheel to the top of this hill right near my house, and when I was 2 years old, and just like it's the quiet suburbs of Fort Montgomery, right outside of West Point. So there were no through traffic, no really nothing like that. So my parents would let us play outside and just never see us till dark. But I was 2, and I took the big wheel all the way down. There was loose gravel at the bottom, and I skid out and then landed and broke my fall with my right side of my face. And just like, my sister picked me up. I ruined her "I'm a Big Sister" t-shirt. I got like blood all over it. But that's who my parents have been dealing with since I was 2 years old.
You seem like the kid who gets hit and then he's just like, I'm fine. Let's go. Let's keep going.
Yeah, let's do this. I got a huge Irish head. Let's use it.
How much older is your sister?
4 years.
4 years. Oh, that's good. So she really could pick you up and be like, it's broken.
Exactly. And she's hyper intelligent, hyper like she was decent at sports and stuff like that, but she didn't take to it as much as I did.
Yeah.
But she is like a musical what is that called when you're really good at a young age? Savant kind of.
Prodigy
kind of.
okay.
Both of my sisters started proficiently playing the piano at like 3 years old.
Damn.
Wow.
Like ridiculous musicians with perfect pitch, the ability to read music in it's just crazy. Like, so that was their field, and then I was the middle only dude crash dummy.
I remember your joke where you have to do the musicals and you have to feign love interest with your sisters.
Yeah,
that makes me laugh very hard.
So I had a little bit of a musical ability. I could kind of hold a tune a little bit, nowhere near both of my sisters, but I like how I said I had to, like I was forced to sing for company, but I got off on it. Clearly, it's kind of a tangential thing from the career I've chosen. But I would have to sing like romantic duets with my older sister when like company would come. So we'd like have to like act out and like make eye contact and have a very uncomfortable dynamic between two related people.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah,
that is great.
If you could sell it, that's what you're gonna make it, baby.
I have tried to make that joke work for 5 years, and it always works right when I start telling it again, and then dies on the vine after a while because people are just so put off by it.
I was just thinking about it, and I was laughing. It's so funny.
So funny. It's
my
a great premise.
God.
Oh my god.
Because don't you do a little dance? You do a
Yeah.
little.
Oh yeah. I mean, we used to. Our big one was A Whole New World. We sang that. I sang the Phantom of the Opera. All I Ask of You. I actually sang that. That was my first talent show. I sang that part with this girl, Alex Horton. I was in 7th grade. She was in 8th. It was called Kaleidoscope Cafe, and we sang that duet in front of like 200 people. And it's the first laugh on stage I've ever gotten because I sang the first line, forgot the words, and just go fuck, and the whole room erupted in laughter. And I was like, well, let's bank that. I might come back to that.
Yeah.
Now I'm broken forever.
Yeah.
This is what I need. Great.
I'm gonna say fucking a mic for a long time.
So what was the first sport that really kept your attention?
Probably soccer.
Really?
Yeah, soccer was. I was really good at soccer as well, and I was potentially going to play that in college over basketball. But I had an alcoholic high school coach who was doubled as the math teacher, and I was, I think, 3rd leading scorer on varsity my sophomore year, behind 2 seniors, and then junior year I got inexplicably benched, and so for my senior year I told the coach to go fuck himself, and I played football.
Wow.
Yeah. It was awesome. Still to this day, I mean, I don't think I would ever let my son play football. I really wouldn't.
Yeah.
I watched the Aaron Hernandez doc. I've watched.
Oh, I'm watching that right now.
It's brutal.
So upsetting.
It's brutal. This kid was like 23 years old and had a full-blown Tim Burton Forrest as a brain.
Yeah.
Like just a horrifying mess that obviously clogged his decision-making, as he
I
was
would say.
pretty poor at those.
Yeah.
But, that one season of football that I played is the most fun season of sport I have ever played in my life.
Really?
Easily, yeah.
Okay.
Because I think it probably had something to do with the fact that I had no pressure. Like, it's not something I was looking to continue. I knew it was kind of a one-time thing, have fun with my friends. I was going into my senior year of basketball while being recruited, so it probably wasn't even the best idea, but it was so much fun. I don't regret it.
What did you
all.
play football?
I played. So initially, I came on the team as a kicker because I played,
fun.
soccer. But then I ended up starting at wide receiver and defensive back because I was just athletic. I could play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
But it's all so Gaelic football, which is another sport that I played. It's like full contact, almost Irish rugby style stuff, where it's a lot of hitting, and that's kind of where I got my thirst for football hits because even in soccer, I was such a maniac, like fighting for the ball. I would get yellow cards all the time because I was just putting my shoulder deep into people's chests.
Yeah.
When you were playing soccer, what position did you play?
I was a striker, so I was a forward where I shouldn't have been actually because I was I was so bigger than soccer players, I should say, in my team. I probably should have played center mid.
Yeah.
Which, but I think they wanted a big striker that could kind of fight for the ball and win possession, and I would
Abby
do
Wambach, if you will.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I love her.
But in Irish football, I played center, half forward, which is like, so it's not full forward is like all the way at the other team's 18. Mid forward or half forward is between the 18 and the half line, and then in the middle is like the two people that are kind of roaming the entire field.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask more questions about Gaelic football in a second, but
Yeah.
I also want to know how you found it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in the newspaper.
What?
When I was
and he also read.
Yeah. Well, I did not. My mom grew up like, I'm Irish Catholic. I still identify with one of those things. My mom grew up hardcore Irish Catholic. Her mother is from Ireland. Her father's family is from Ireland. And she went to Catholic school her entire life. So the Irish culture is really deep in our family. And my mom always took the opportunity to kind of like teach me about it. Like, all of my cultural history projects were always about something Irish, about our family, where we're from, and all that kind of stuff. And my mom saw an ad in the Our Town, Rockland County newspaper that said, "Come play Gaelic football." Didn't really explain much, didn't say what it was, but it's like, get in touch with your heritage, see what the main sport in Ireland is, and it's come to the Rockland Psychiatric Center. That's where we play.
Oh God, that's a little foreshadowing.
Yeah, it sure is. Oh, the amount of times I saw people with like open robes and their dick hanging out, like
it cuts down on travel
wild.
time.
Yeah,
I think that's why you're okay with Chris sending you pictures of his dick. You're like, oh,
and Louis.
yeah. Oh. Lucky.
Yeah, right. I was Louis as a child. My poor wife. Like, I mean, I've known her since I was 10 years old, right? So we've been going to each other's sports games since that age, right? And so I think when I was like 13 or 14, she came with me to a Gaelic football game at the Rockland Psych Center, and all the parents are like off the boat Irish, like go for the pint, go, kick the ball over the bar, and like shit-faced drinking, hardcore drinking at a child's game. And I guess one of the fathers at one point was like screaming something. We scored. He turned to celebrate and then unzipped his pants and just pissed 3 feet away from my wife. My then child girlfriend.
Yeah, which is technically like, what is that, a crime?
Yeah,
That's
for
a
sure.
crime.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, it's one of those.
That's gonna make you live under a bridge for a while.
Yeah.
Okay, so a newspaper ad,
Yeah.
Gaelic football. Mom was like, okay, so it's like the river dance for boys.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great way to put it. That is
Yeah.
exactly what it was.
My
Yeah.
sister did river dance.
Oh, no kidding?
Because she, like, I look very Italian, and my older sister looks very Italian, and my
Mm.
younger sister has blonde hair and green eyes.
Oh, wow.
And is very pale and very thin. And so my mom was like, oh, she's very Irish.
See, I get Irish when I look at you, though.
Really?
I really do. Yeah. You read totally Irish to
Is
me.
it because I'm so pale and I have freckles?
I don't know. I don't know what it
Yes.
is. You feel like family. That's what I got from going to Ireland. Is like you go there and you're like, oh, everyone looks like me.
Oh,
this
really?
This is weird. Yeah.
That's funny because I went to Ireland and I just was drunk the whole time.
Well, yeah. I was 15.
So I was
also.
like, I fit in here too. But I've always been told I look very Italian. But I guess, yeah, sure, whatever. But Jessica was like,
maybe I just sense things.
yeah, well, you can say, yeah. Well, I got a lot of Irish activities. I don't know why I said. Well,
now I
want
want
That's
to
what
know.
I meant.
Oh, okay.
I'm drinking and then I played soccer. It
And
doesn't
fist
matter.
fights.
I am good at fist fights.
Are you?
No, I'm not.
Oh, that would be awesome if you
I
could
would
know
Put
that.
money on you.
I mean, thank you. I've been in fights only playing sports.
Yeah.
I've never outside been like, oh, let's fight. But like
That
during
was a
sports,
big
someone
thing in my
hits me.
middle
I'm
school
like,
for a little while, is girl fist fights.
really?
Yeah, and it was really upsetting.
That
like
sounds
every time you would see
terrifying.
it, it's just like all the 8th grade girls would try to beat up 6th grade girls. Like, yeah, because like, that's the first grade where you're like in with older guys and older girls, so like sometimes you'd end up dating an older person, and of course people from that grade would take that as a personal affront, so then they would try to beat up the young girl or the young guy, and it was like that was what my school was all about. It was so
Sounds
weird.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
It wasn't good.
I remember I got picked on as a 7th grader, and I just like was like, "Oh, you're making fun of me," and I went and I told on her.
Yeah.
I was not like I got pride. No,
Yeah.
I was like, "Fuck you, make this stop." And she was like, "Leave her alone," and they're like, "Yeah." Then I got left alone.
I think my grade was so there was kind of a big athletic gap where like my sister's grade, 4 years plus older than us, was very athletic and good at sports, and they had like a good record for high school sports. And then below them were like all pot smoking kids that kind of lost ambition and motivation and just like the classic pot stuff. They were all
Yeah.
skateboarders. They didn't give a fuck. They're finger banging. And then
Hell yeah.
then my grade was like really good athletically. So I think that was a perk because older kids would try to fight us, and we'd basically be like, "Yeah, we'll fuck you up. Like, we're 2 years younger than you, but we'll snap your arm off your body and beat you to death with it. We have no problem squaring up with some 8th grader that smokes cigarettes." Get out of my face.
I remember when that was a thing. Like people started smoking cigarettes, and they were
Mm-hmm.
like, "We're pretty cool." And then I just always remember being like, "You're killing yourself."
Yeah.
What
You also
is
have
that?
butter teeth.
Yeah.
In 8th grade. Like, get out of here.
Yeah, it's gross. It's such a bad habit, but goddamn, it does look cool
It
from
does.
a distance.
Yeah, I used to do coke and cigarettes a lot.
Yeah.
Hell
You
yeah.
were so cool.
Yeah, fall from grace athletically, baby.
So Gaelic football, how does it work? Because I know we had what's his name on to tell us about rugby. Oh my God, Brian Beck. He
Oh,
came on
okay.
and he told us about rugby. And
Nice.
so we were like, okay. By the
Oh
end,
wow,
I
and he has like fiberglass bones.
he's
How does he not
he's a little
shatter?
bird
Yeah.
boy. He's a sweet bird boy. But he
I could picture him walking off a curb and shattering his whole body.
he might have. He sent us some pictures of him like very bloodied.
Oh, I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah. But he said that he was and it doesn't matter. But he was like he was stockier,
Yeah.
but still very thin and fast. Like that
Oh,
was
nice.
his thing. He was very fast.
Well, he's very long, so I assume
Yes.
his strides are 11 feet each.
Yes. And then he broke his back, and then
Oh, no.
he had to stop
Oh,
playing.
that's
Yeah.
right.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it was very. We were like, "Oh God, of course you broke your back."
Yeah,
Like,
that's intense.
but he's okay now.
That's
But I didn't know he has a rage monster that lives in him, which is
Yeah, I
very
wouldn't have
exciting.
guessed that.
Never.
I think him and I have connected on that, like where
Yeah.
we've talked about it, and I always just didn't believe him.
Yeah.
I was always like, "Oh, you're adorable that you
Yeah.
think you not whispering is angry."
Yeah. But then he told us some stories and we were like, all right, I'm going to keep my distance.
Yeah, yeah.
You sound terrifying.
Hell yeah.
But so how does it differ, Gaelic football, how does it differ from rugby?
So there's no scrum.
Okay.
There's no kind of lineup like that. It's much more fluid and fast paced. There's not a lot of stop and action. There are free kicks like in soccer, but you can use you use your hands and your feet. You do this thing called soloing to move, which means you can only take 3 steps before you either have to bounce the ball or you have to kick it back up to yourself. So you have to run.
okay.
You have to run full speed, holding it, and then mid stride have to drop the ball onto the top of your foot and kick it back up to yourself without breaking speed. So
Jeez.
it's a lot of, like, and it sounds like a lot, and it is initially when you start playing, but eventually it becomes just second nature. Like, that's pretty much how you run.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of people, they forego the bounce because they think that actually slows them down, whereas like just the soloing and kicking it back up to themselves is a faster way to get around.
Wow.
To pass, it's a bit of volleyball. Like, there's a lot of sports kind of clustered into this one sport. You have your left hand to support the ball, or the other way, and you take the heel of your other hand and you basically almost serve it. Like serve it out of your
Yeah.
hand to pass. Or you can have your hand on the bottom like this, and like a basketball shot, basically kind of like push it through.
Okay.
But to do that method, you have to like really sell the follow through, because if they think you're just throwing a chest pass, you immediately get called for something and then they take the ball back. And to kick it, like, you can play soccer, you can like keep the ball on the ground and play soccer, but you are gonna get fucking rocked. I mean, if people see you like, you know, just kind of twinkle toeing around the field,
they'll tackle you.
It's not, so they don't full wrap up. You can't do that. That's illegal. But you can shoulder. You can shoulder the shit out of people.
Okay.
Yeah, which is that was kind of my thing.
I believe it. Yeah.
And to start possession, it's a 2-on-2 jump ball,
Okay.
like in basketball. So there's a little bit of basketball element to it. They throw it up, you go up and get it, and then kind of the whole thing starts right there. To kick, to score, in the goal is 3 points. So in a soccer goal, and then straight up from the what are those called? From the posts. Extend the what's it called, like field goal posts, right? So above it, through the field goal post is 1 point, in the goal is 3. So a lot of that, you know, you'd hear go over the bar, and that would mean go for 1 point, or put it in the goal. That would be 3, obviously.
And is there a goalie?
There is a goalie. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's just like soccer, where they have, you know, same padded shirt, the gloves, the whole thing.
Do they kick it into the goal, or can they throw it?
So you can't throw it. You can. I think I'm like trying to like rehash all the rules here, but you can. So you can punch it over the bar. So at 1 point you can do that from outside of the most immediate goalie box, right? And you can punch it over the bar to do that. Otherwise, you have to punt into the net or kick it like a soccer, like a soccer ball. Yeah.
And it's a round ball. It's not like
it's
the
but it's a heavier. It's heavier than a soccer ball. So it looks like a volleyball, but it's much denser and heavier.
So in Gaelic football, who is the star of the show?
So it kind of depends on your team. Our team was so good. It like we didn't lose for 7 years. My team, we were incredible, because we had this collective from, it was all of Rockland County, right? So we had Pearl River, which at the time, and probably even still, is the most saturated of Irish people outside of Ireland in the world.
Really?
Yeah, in the world. Like the most Irish person per capita in the entire world, right? Then we had Nanuet, we all which is similar right around there, and my area, which was South Orangetown, Tappan Zee High School, that stuff. And we basically got to pick and choose the best athletes from our entire county. So we had really great soccer players. We had this kid Brendan Fennell, who was an unbelievable soccer player, but also ran like a 4:05 mile.
Oh my god!
Yeah, so he's like the fastest kid in high school. I think he ran for American University after that.
Damn.
He eventually had to stop playing a little earlier than all of us, because he was so highly touted in track. They didn't want him to get hurt.
Yeah.
But we had, like, you know, these kids, James Donahue, who's another good soccer player, good basketball player, really built like an Irish shithouse. And, you know, myself, who played really good, you know, basketball, soccer, you know, kind of like all around. And I mean, we had, from our goalie to our fullbacks to our, you know, half full to our mids, everybody was like really great. But the people that are all over the place the most would probably be the midfielders.
The midfielders.
Yeah, but I was the center mid, and I would probably be one of the leading scorers. I guess. Yeah, I probably scored some of the most, if not the most.
Okay, so I think the star was Mr. Mike Cannon.
I don't know, but it depends. It depends what your star is. You know what I mean? Because our team was so well rounded that our defense was like talked about by these Irish people like they had never seen anything like this.
Yeah.
It still baffles me that I got to be a part of it.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
But you went to college for basketball.
For basketball, yeah.
Okay.
I actually had to stop playing Irish football because I played 2 years of junior college, and my coach, obviously you can't play anything that might risk injury, so he was like, please don't do that anymore.
So what was that whole process? Going to junior college from high school.
Getting recruited and
stuff
like that. So from high school, I this is like a kind of a crazy long story, but I had an okay GPA, probably like 85 and an 1150 out of 1600s on my SATs. Very unremarkable, but decent enough to get into schools.
Yeah.
My dad was a stockbroker, and he lost all of his money right before I was about to go away to college. So seeing that I was an unmotivated student, and you know, I could have gone somewhere, but it would have been just go to college kind of shit. My parents offered me, they were like, hey, if you go to 2 years of community college, junior college. We will then pay for whatever school you get into afterwards. And at Rockland Community, they had an honors program where people got into Harvard, they got into Princeton.
wow.
Like it was like if you used it for what it was capable of, it could really set you up for a great future. But it also could be 13th grade, which a lot of people treated it like. You know, they didn't give a fuck. They just went to like try to finger somebody from a different high school, basically.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. But so what happened my senior year when I agreed to that, I still was kind of looking at other schools if they could potentially give me money or you know, entice my parents to maybe spend a little bit to get me to go or borrow against it, I should say. But I spoke with our coach, Rob Krasinski, who is now a coach in Memphis, I think, like that. Not university, but like a small kind of private college school. But he was at Keene in Jersey for a little while. Still to this day, one of the best sports in any sport coaches I've ever had. Like highly motivated, worked harder than anybody I've ever seen. Like in his office until 3 a.m. watching film, then back out at 5:30 when we had practice in the morning.
Yeah.
You know, and I had spoken to him while still a senior at Tappan Zee High School. And I just immediately was like, all right, yeah, I want to continue playing basketball for this guy. This guy, you know, even whatever happens afterwards, it doesn't even matter because this sounds great. We get to travel, get to go, you know, we had a trip to New Mexico. We played tournaments in the Carolinas. It was a real fucking commitment, you know, and that's why when people are like, oh, these college athletes, it's fine. They're gifted, you know, they're compensated in education. And it's like, yo, I went to Rockland Community College and I barely... Like it was hard. It was hard to balance school and D3 or D2, whatever it was, basketball. And it's like if you're D1 and that's your job, you're not doing anything. You're not learning shit.
Yeah.
You're watching film and you're learning about, you know, the other team's tendencies.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Did you end up going to a 4-year after?
So I played well enough in this is kind of weird, but I went to Rockland Community, played 2 years. I also played poker. Professionally.
I'm sorry.
At the time.
We glossed over a few things. Dad lost all of his money in the stock market. That seems a big deal.
Yeah.
And then you also played poker.
I also took steroids my sophomore year.
Let's get into it.
Oh yeah, I want to hear about the stories.
Yeah.
How? I just want to know, how did it make you feel? How much better did it make you at it?
Like a god.
All right.
I mean, so what I took, it's called a pro steroid because they sell it over the counter. It's the same shit. But they sell it over the counter while it's technically going through the FDA process of approval. It's legal for them to sell this anabolic pill over the counter while it's being, you know, tested by the government. Then as soon as it gets, you know, rejected, which it always does after 6 to 8 weeks, they pull it off the shelf, they repackage it, they change a molecule, and then they put it back on the shelf to do the exact same thing. So I was legally over the counter buying anabolic steroids. And I think at my biggest I was like 205 pounds.
Whoa.
And I'm like 175 now, so I was 30 pounds heavier of full fucking muscle, because not only was I taking the Winstrol equivalent, which Winstrol is a lean steroid. It burns all of your fat and develops lean muscle, and kind of like it's perfect for you know, flexible sports, let's say.
Okay.
And then I also took a D-ball equivalent, which is not. It is just pure bulk. It turns you into an absolute animal, like a Jersey Shore animal. And then, but I stacked it with this thing called clenbuterol, which is what Canelo Alvarez, the boxer, got caught with before he fought Triple G, and they had to reschedule and cancel that fight. He claimed tainted beef, but please, it's a horse asthma medication that literally, like, engulfs your body with heat and shakes to the point where you have no fat, and it builds up lean muscle, and your wind is for days. So I was taking this shit while playing cards in live, not online, in underground clubs in New York, and having to like try to hold my hands from tremoring because the pills were such a fucking like wild scene inside of my body.
Who were you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did it ever give you like the crazy mood swings that they say like come with steroids?
I mean, I don't know. So, because I was angry anyway, really angry. This is top 2 angriest of my life. So,
all right.
What brought on the angry?
So my parents were getting a divorce after 25 years of marriage, and it was ugly, and I was living there because I was still going to college and living at home.
Yeah.
My grandfather, who's basically my real dad, died. My dog died, and like a handful of my friends died. Like just in like an
Jesus.
18-month to 2.5 year span. It even continued for like a few more years after that. A few friends dropped dead from various different things, but it was like the first time my poor little white heart got broken.
Yeah.
And I decided to stack testosterone on top of the feeling. So I was like, yeah, I didn't drink or anything like that. And I was like, all right, let's redline our body. Let's see what we're capable of. So I don't know if I had actual mood swings but I can tell you I got into some fights because I was called on for the first time to like get in and enforce some shit, you know, which is a great feeling. I felt like a human gun.
Yeah.
Like that's the best way I could put it.
A human cannon.
You goddamn
Oh,
right.
I'm so sorry.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked it. Oh, yeah, human cannon. Oh, God. Were you good at poker?
Yeah, it was really good. I guess I probably shouldn't say how much money I made, but because whatever. But I made a lot of money over like 18 months. Me and two of my friends would play in these underground places on like Houston Street and on Wall Street. We played in Corona, Queens. We had this one game in Brooklyn, and we started to get known around the underground circuit in the city as the college kids. So like they just knew who we were, and our limit wasn't crazy. We'd show up to a 2-5 no limit game and each buy in for $1,000, where all of these business owners were buying in for several thousands, and then we would leave with like lined pockets for the most part. Like we'd do really well, which was real fucking dangerous because there's always people outside casing and looking to rob somebody.
Yeah, but then not the cannon.
They didn't.
I would say
we got lucky. One of the places we played, I think it was on Houston, the night after we had played there, and we all we just cleaned it up. We played really well, all three of us. Phil Hellmuth and A-Rod were there, and the place got robbed with machine guns.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
anybody die? No.
No,
Thank
but
goodness.
really fucking scary.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So I guess you made enough money to be fine.
I made enough money to take my basketball team out to lunch every single day for 2 years.
Whoa!
That's what I did. Yeah. That's how I spent my money. I regressed into childhood shit. I bought a couple BMX bikes. I bought
No, I love this.
Oh, dude, I
love that.
built ramps in my backyard.
Crew!
Yeah. It really meant
I
a lot
also
to me.
love the fact that you took out your team every day for lunch. That is the coolest fucking thing ever. Oh my God, I love
It felt
that.
pretty badass, to be honest.
Yeah.
And my team, I'm really lucky because basketball and sports has diversified my life, right? It's put me in contact with people that my town wouldn't necessarily put me in contact with.
Yeah.
So all of my high school or all of my college teammates came from kind of rough backgrounds. Like they were all from Brooklyn, all from the Bronx, all from Yonkers, where I was the only local, or me and my buddy Hansley were the only local Rockland athletes that actually came to play for the team. So a lot of the times I had the most quote unquote, in giant quotes, stable household. So a lot of my teammates would come and stay at my house because, if they couldn't go back to the Bronx or wherever, they would come and stay. And I remember this could reduce me to tears even now. This kid Pumpkin, who's from Yonkers,
Adorable.
he's 6'5". He was a little bit retarded, and I mean that legitimately. He was undiagnosed, could not, fell through the cracks of the public school system, couldn't really read, but but he beautiful soul. He still ends up on Jadakiss's Instagram every once in a while now, so that's kind of how I stay up to date.
Why on
Because Jadakiss lives in Yonkers still and is just on the block,
And he sees
Pumpkin is a YO fixture. He they just love him there. So he
Pumpkin.
he would come to my place, and he hadn't had a home cooked meal in. If ever, and home cooked in the sense of what my mom was providing. And so there were times where he'd well up with tears and just be like, this is a blessing. This is such a blessing. I can't believe I'm here. I can't believe this, you guys are bringing me into your house. And it's that kind of stuff is what I will forever be thankful to for sports.
Yeah. Yeah, sports brings together everybody.
It really
so
does.
heartwarming.
Yeah, I fucking love Pumpkin. I want to follow Jadakiss now just in hopes to see Pumpkin.
Oh, there's an old video of Jadakiss and Pumpkin where you kind of see Pumpkin, but he's dressed in full Like he's a weirdo. But he's a funny dude. He like had a full almost American color bike outfit with like size 19 LeBrons where he's like a size 11. But he like this is what happens when you come from, you know, no money. You kind of make shit work, right? So he would have 9 or 10 insoles. And Jadakiss had him pull off the shoes and like count the insoles, and like he was just dying laughing, and like, you know, Pumpkin's a good sport about it, but like that's kind of who he is to Yonkers still.
Oh, Pumpkin! I am gonna look up Pumpkin.
I love that. When you were playing basketball, what position did you play in basketball?
Point guard.
Point guard.
Yeah.
Nice.
So steroids was like, I mean, I'm glad I did it, I guess.
Yeah.
But it wasn't necessary. Like I would have been better off doing yoga. I probably would have gotten injured a lot less because my freshman year, I tore my meniscus.
Oh no!
And I never got surgery because I was starting, and I did not want to lose my position. So instead of getting surgery and rehabbing it, I did steroids and built muscle up around it.
Yeah.
Which is would not recommend. But you know, so it's in terms of the long term, it's definitely hurt my knee, and I still have some problems. But it got me through.
Yeah.
And also, steroids almost killed me. As I got recruited to play at Geneseo, and I was gonna play there until like the first day of school. I just decided not to. They called my room and they were like, "All right, wake up call for the practice." I was like, "Yeah, I'm not doing it." But before I got to Geneseo, I had to get like the physical and all that stuff, and I actually I had gotten a hernia from lifting in a Planet Fitness. I was squatting and the weights fell on top of me, and I like threw up all over the floor. I tore my ab and my groin and got a hernia. And so
all in one shot.
Honestly,
impressive.
Yeah, and the hernia was so minuscule that it didn't require surgery, but the tears were what was like baffling to the doc. Like it was like long uninterrupted tears where it was bad news. But from that, I like then got physicals once I kind of started to come back, and the guy, I guess I was still on steroids for this then. The doctor asked me if I had been drinking every day since I was 5 years old because of the results of a blood test. And I didn't even drink at this point. And I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, your liver is code red. We gotta figure out something. Like you might die in the next couple months. This is bad.
Jesus.
This is fucking bad.
God.
And he was like, are you taking anything? Are you doing? And I'm like, I'm kind of on steroids. And he's like, what? And I told him what I'm taking, and he's like, that's even worse, dude. He's like, you should inject it. He literally, the doctor was like, inject it. Don't take pills, you fucking idiot, because your liver is the thing that's like processing all of this, and it's just destroying it. So I had to obviously stop taking steroids, and my liver regenerated within 3 or 4 weeks or whatever.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah, that's really...
Well, it's like one of the few organs that actually grows back.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, and I wasn't
that's
drinking,
good to know.
so it didn't, it didn't hinder it that way.
That's
How
good to
quickly
know.
afterwards did you like lose the effects of the steroids, or like the muscle go away?
Not that quickly. I mean, I kept like kind of my girth, I should say, but
Hell
I wasn't. Yeah, I wasn't. Hell yeah, I wasn't. Well, that's another thing is people are like, did it fuck up your dick? And I'm like, if you mean it made my dick the hardest it's ever been. Yeah, it really fucked it up by adding scaffolding to my dick.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I mean, I have no idea if my girlfriend at the time enjoyed herself, but I was fucking like a silverback gorilla.
Because it jacks up your testosterone.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was a wild scene.
It doesn't affect your dick. It affects your
Balls.
Balls.
Which I took
Yeah, there
pills
you
to
go.
counteract that.
Ooh.
Yeah, you can,
Man,
can
you
take
were
that
just
stuff.
a cocktail of pharmaceuticals.
Yeah, I just came from a high school where everybody was on steroids.
Yeah.
So just,
You were smart about it.
Yeah. Well, not really. I mean, I still almost died.
Well, yes, but I mean, like smart about.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm not going to be one of those small ball.
I'm not gonna.
fucks.
Yeah. I'm not gonna have big pecs and small balls.
What am I, an idiot?
But yeah, so I kept my girth a little bit, but even after I got hurt, I kind of stopped lifting for a long time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was sizable, but I wasn't in shape at all. So once I started reworking out again, I actually went the exact opposite way, which is it's very, that's very me. My first year of basketball, I was one of 2 white kids on my basketball team. I had a hardcore identity crisis because my parents were getting divorced, because everybody was dying. I just didn't know who I was. So I went full urban, and I wore Pele jeans with the patches. I wore XXX white tees, long. I wore white on white Air Force Ones. I had the tape up haircut with the full lineup. I'd go out with my teammates, and girls would assume I was Puerto Rican because I could dance and shit. So like, and then the next
All those
year,
show tunes, baby.
I know exactly, right? And then the next year, I went like Ashton Kutcher white. So like I went the full swing opposite, just to like try to find some balance in the middle of who I am as a person. And then as soon as I stopped steroids, I did this thing called the Bodybuilding Bible for Men, and I got down to like 5.2% body fat. I weighed 167, and I had like an 8-pack abs, like, you know, road maps going through my. It was just a crazy, like, okay, this is another thing to become obsessed about. That is a different, you know.
So it sounds like you have an addictive personality without the actual like not being heroin. So
yeah, no heroin. No, it was coke for a little while in Geneseo, but the worst it got was every weekend for like 2 months, and then I was like, all right, this isn't even good coke.
Yeah, I was gonna say
that's what stopped it.
Yeah, stepped on upstate bullshit. Get this baby laxative out of my face.
Did you wear trucker hats?
Mm-hmm. Oh. Yeah, I sucked.
Bless you.
I sucked. I wore trucker hats. I wore, you know, fun cereal graphic tees under, like, you know, the button down Old Navy stuff. Like I went from South Pole Nick Cannon shit to like full butterfly effect Ashton Kutcher.
Wow. Yeah. That is impressive.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that.
Now, am I crazy? Did you play professional Gaelic football?
So I mean, I played up until college, and we actually played in Ireland when I was 15 years old. I think up until that point we hadn't lost in like 5 years. So we gathered an all-star team from mostly Rockland GAA, but then also some, I think 1 or 2 city kids, maybe, because up in, you know, St. Barnabas up in the Bronx, and like we'd play at Gaelic Park in Yonkers, we'd play at Van Cortlandt Park up in the Bronx. Like there are a shit ton of mix in the upper part of the Bronx, and they were pretty good, but our team was so stacked that we didn't really even need them. So we ended up going to Ireland. We played 9 counties and we won 7.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we only lost 2, but we got into a fist fight, like sideline clearing fist fight 100% of the games. 9 games in a row. Yeah, and
it's
always
good to be consistent.
And it always started with a headbutt. It always like the other team, the Irish fights, and I don't know, you know, this is like one of those generalizations that comes from just one personal experience. But I mean, 9 in a row fights started with a headbutt.
Someone headbutted you.
Yeah, or the other team. Yeah,
the other team
headbutted one of our teammates. Yeah,
and then everybody was just like, "Fuck this!"
Oh yeah,
and then just started swinging.
And then we drink with them. We were 15 and like hanging out at the pub, you know, the local pub with them, eating fucking egg salad sandwiches. That was the big. That was the big post-game meal. And I've since asked a ton of Irish people, I'm like, what is the deal with egg salad? Like, why is that so big in Ireland? They're like, it's not. It was cheap. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I was like, this whole time I've been blaming Irish people.
To support your headbutting claim, my friend Patrick O'Grady.
Yeah.
I saw him get in a few
Italian?
fights. Yeah, very Italian. Yeah. Smaller guy, man. He didn't take shit from anyone. Every fight he got into started with a headbutt. Someone got too close, just right nose level. Yep. Boom. They never expect it.
That's a big. Did you grow up in the suburbs?
No, country, way out. I mean, surprisingly New Jersey, but in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, still like kind of, you know, I assume white.
Yeah.
White in the middle of nothing. Like that's a big white thing I've found in fights, is like that kind of like arm back, chest up, not like defenseless stance right before a fight. It's the dumbest fuck thing to do.
Yeah.
And you know nobody wants to fight when they approach you like that. So if somebody comes to you with their arms wide and their chest out and their chin up and they're like talking shit, it's like, thanks for the free shot, bro. I am going to unload on your jaw right now. It's the best.
I was going to say, have you done that before?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
A lot of fights, yeah.
A lot of fights.
Both sports and non, yeah. When I was on steroids, I got on in a couple fights, but one where I got called down into the basement of my buddy B-Tags used to throw parties all the time in his parents' house. And my buddy Mike, you know, this is like classic high school into college drama with people that you grew up with, where like, a kid we knew was now hooking up with a girl he broke up with 2 years ago, so of course he's got to fight him.
Yeah.
It couldn't make less sense, but he like marched down to the basement and like, Superman punched this kid in the face, and just 30 people just emptied into this basement of my friend's house and started tearing walls down, fighting, and I got called down as kind of like, an enforcer style person.
And I break this up,
dude. I remember. I'll never forget this, and it's only made possible by like really thin wood paneling walls, like almost like Brady Bunch shit. Is I grabbed this kid by the back of his shirt and by the back of his belt, and almost like DJ Jazzy Jeff style, just bum tossed him through one of those wood walls.
Hell yeah! I've always wanted to do that.
Dude, it was I felt like a saloon owner. It was outrageous.
Leif, you're gonna be the guy getting thrown.
Yeah, I've been thrown so many times.
Let me break something at least.
Like, I don't fight, but I talk shit. Like, if somebody's being a dick, and like I've been thrown through several screen doors.
Oh hell yeah, yeah. I had by my dad. My dad and I got into a fist fight while I was on steroids.
Oh, wow.
It started by him because, to bring that whole college thing around, is I went to the junior college. We agreed to that deal. I could go wherever I got into, blah, blah, blah. Apparently money never really got better, or if it did, my dad became kind of like just super embittered and like it did not want to spend $1 on his kids from that point on. It's still
really,
yeah, we still don't really talk. Like it's a point of contention. But I came home from visiting my girlfriend at the time at Syracuse. I was looking for a college to go to. I wanted to go to Ithaca because it was near my girlfriend at the time. It had my major. I could play basketball there because it was Division III. And I was so excited. I came home. I was like, I know where I want to go. This is exciting. I have direction. And my father was like, absolutely not. Only SUNY. I'm like, what? Like that wasn't the deal we had at all. And I don't know if he was fighting with my mother before that or what was happening, but he like snapped in where he was frothing from the mouth, inches from my face, screaming about me and where I'm going to go to college. And he like, I guess to test me at the exact wrong time because I was peak cycle, he threw like some limp dick uppercut at my body, and I like T-1000 locked into his arm, chopped down, gave him a dead forearm, and then like an outfielder throwing to third from right, I crow hopped and then full fucking punched him right in his pumpkin Irish head. And my dad's 6'2", 280. Like he's a big motherfucker. So he stumbled back, and then I ran out of the house and I didn't come back for 3 days. I actually visited my buddy at Villanova, one of whom is dead now, but I visited my buddies. And that first night, I never drank, right? And I was like, oh, I'm going to fucking tear it up. I'm going to drink. I'm now a college kid. Fuck that. I'm pissed at my parents. So I drank and smoked weed as if I had been training for it. And I passed out in some, girl's room. I woke up to like 3 of them poking me like I was the dead body from Stand By Me. And I'm like, what are you doing? They're like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I don't know. And I stumbled downstairs. I walked through to the backyard. I had to piss. I pulled my pants all the way down to my ankles, started pissing and vomiting at the exact same time, realized I hadn't seen my friends for hours. I see a big silhouette on the side of the house, and he goes, hey man, what are you doing? I go, Tim, is that you? And he's like, yeah dude, come out front. I pull up my underwear, I leave my pants down. This is all like retold to me by other people too, and I like penguin walked over to this guy, and by the time I was like this distance away, I saw the badge. He grabbed me, brought me out front, stuck a breathalyzer in my face. Again, I don't remember this, but this is what people are retelling me. I blew a .4, which I don't know if that's possible. Like he might have been speaking in hyperbole, but the officer kept saying you're legally blind, and people from the party were like, he kept saying you're blind, and I was like, all right, I don't even know what that means. He's like, and I can't let you go until somebody over 21, I can release you into their custody. So I called my buddy Tim, who is underage, and I was like, hey man, I gotta show you something. Like, didn't even tell him that I was in trouble. I just said I had to show him something in front of the house. He's eating pizza down the street. He comes, finds me, sees the cops, and he's like, what the fuck? The cop's like, you know this guy? You're over 21? My buddy, in sociopath mode, hands him his dead brother's ID that says he's 23. The cop goes, perfect, releases me into his custody. It's like a $678 ticket, right? And the next day I woke up with horrible post-drinking anxiety, the first I ever got. I'm panicking. I call the office of the police department because it says they're sending an extra copy home. I call them and I'm like, hey, you don't have to do that. Like, I got the copy. It's cool. I'm going to pay it on Monday. You're totally fine. The next day, Saturday, I had, again, such bad anxiety. I was like, I got to go home. I'm just going home. Like, I can't stay here. I'm going home. I drove home, and instead of mailing the second summons, they FedEx overnighted it to my mother because I called to tell them that it was cool. They don't have to do that. So as an extra fuck you, they spent money to overnight it to my mom, and my mom's sitting there with, like, the envelope, tapping her foot, like she's like Sonic when you had to wait for a while. like tapping her foot, just like holding the thing. And she's like, what the fuck? What are you doing? Like, you're drinking, you're an alcoholic. Because my dad was an alcoholic, so that's, of course, where they first jumped to. And I'm like, I don't even drink. She's like, you don't have a job. What are you going to do? How are you going to pay for this? And I walked upstairs. I'm playing poker at the time. I grabbed $10,000. $10,000 in cash. Came downstairs, fanned out $700, and I go, keep the change, you fucking bitch.
Whoa!
And my mom's like, what the fuck? Are you a drug dealer? What's going on? And I'm all like noble and proud. I'm like, no, I'm a poker player. She's like, that's worse. And she's like, Kevin, your son's playing poker. What the fuck? My dad like kind of slovenly walks in from the living room, sees the stack of 10 grand, looks at me and goes, oh, pay for college yourself, you fucking asshole. And then walked back into the living room just to watch golf. And that was it. We never spoke of our fist fight ever again. Classic Irish.
Wow.
Woo! Look at that. Would you look at that? Oh, and so your parents were still living together?
Yeah, they were good. They went through like a 2-year about to be divorced thing, and where my mom slept on the couch every night for 2 years.
Why did your mom sleep on the couch?
Because she's a martyr. Like, at the time, she just like... She would, I have no idea what happened in their relationship. It's not, it's not really important for me to know personally what happened, but it just like the environment of the house was like super toxic.
Yeah.
And even my younger sister, I mean, she went to therapy over my father and I's fist fight because it was like such a damaging experience.
Was she in the room?
Yeah, and she was younger. She was like maybe in high school, maybe last year of middle school. Oof. And it's like, my dad is such a fucking mick that like my sister then went to therapy, justifiably so, to like try to work through what that meant, what everything meant, what the divorce meant, how she could like get a handle on her emotion, and she was smart about it. And my dad and my mom went with her once, and my dad does not believe in therapy, and within 3 minutes was 4 inches away from the female therapist's face, screaming, frothing from the mouth, saying how what she does is bullshit and she's a quack and he doesn't need therapy and his daughter doesn't need therapy and nobody he's ever met before needs therapy.
Oh, so my God.
That's Kevin.
Oh my God. Fuck Kevin.
I agree. I completely agree. Fuck him.
Fuck Kevin.
Wow.
Well, this is the point in the show where we do quick fun questions.
Nice.
Oh.
Well, we went on a journey.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That was beautiful.
Oh, I could do this all day.
Yeah.
Oh.
So did you have any nicknames?
Yeah.
Well, my father, this is actually true. I was scared of the dark when I was 10 years old, like to take my dog, because we lived on the bottom of a mountain. So our entire backyard was just engulfed by darkness, like pure pitch black. And I had a golden retriever named Belle, and I would have to take her out at night, right? And my dad would be like, hey, dog boy, go take out the dog. It just because I was scared of the dark, he called me dog boy for the better part of like 5 years, and I still don't really know what that meant.
I can't. Kevin is a man that I want to know but never want to meet.
Oh yeah, for sure. The thing is, you'd probably like him. Yeah. He's super gregarious and charming and funny, but he's just a borderline personality maniac.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, but growing up, I never really did because Cannon is such a almost nickname anyway. People just called me Cannon. I was never called Mike growing up, or Michael. Like it was just always Cannon. My 7th grade basketball coach, Mr. Rorick, he tried to coin Loose. So Loose Cannon, he would call me Loose a lot, and then I retorted with calling him Plugs because he had hair plugs, and so that nickname died on the vine pretty quick.
What number were you?
So initially growing up, I was 7. Then, because I liked Mickey Mantle, and then I was 21.
Okay.
I don't know why I landed on 21 or what that was, but I mean, 21 was mostly what I would be. Then if they didn't have it, I'd be 2. Then I also kind of I was obsessed with Jason Williams, the white chocolate, the Sacramento Kings point guard, because that's how I kind of played. Like, the reason I do comedy is because I enjoy audience reaction, and most of that, I didn't even realize that that's also why I loved basketball. I was super flashy. I was one of those guys that making a move and busting a kid's ass, and this sounds crazy, but busting a black kid's ass in front of an all-black gymnasium and having the gymnasium react to the white boy busting the black kid's ass, it's still the best feeling I've ever had in my entire life. Like, just the craziness, the energy, the madness. They just didn't expect it, and it's like such a palpable thing that you're like, oh, I could do this for the rest of my fucking life. So I would be like 55 sometimes, or I would be 2, because Jason Williams wore that for the Memphis Grizzlies.
Damn.
Yeah.
When did you start doing comedy?
I did it a handful of times in college at Geneseo.
Yeah.
I was mostly blackout drunk for all 4 or 5 times. And then I did it again a handful of times when I got out. When I got out of the pen, out of school. But I really started winter 08-09. So and I started handing out flyers in Times Square.
Oh, wow.
Which I think sports actually got me through it, because it's one of those things where you're it is a physical, tough thing to do. Hand out flyers in the middle of Times Square during the dead of winter.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was gotta pay my dues. I got, this is what my favorite comedians did, and you gotta work. You gotta work. It's a physical.
It's your endurance.
Yeah, it's a physical work. This is what it's gonna be. So I credit sports with kind of getting me through the suck.
Yeah.
That answered the next question. How does sports work with comedy?
Yeah.
But how about initiations?
Initiations?
Yeah.
Any sports teams initiate hazing?
Oh, you want to? This is kind of funny. So I went to my now wife, her AAU game when we were maybe 12 or 13 or something like that. And everybody during timeouts and quarter breaks, everybody would rush onto the court and shoot around, right? That was the move. All the other kids that were watching the game would then get a chance to shoot and whatever. And I was apparently so lights out during this one halftime with a group of 13 black kids that I had never met before, that we were hanging out and I was just busting ass and playing really well. When we all sat down on the bleachers, they baptized me black. I swear, they did this whole thing. It's still one of the funniest things ever. They were faking peeling skin off of their face and throwing it at me. They're like, "Yo, you black, man, you're black, dude," and they were just throwing skin at me, and I was like, "This means so much to me."
Oh my God, that's so beautiful. Good. Oh, I mean, good for you.
Yeah.
I'm happy for little Mike for that moment.
Yeah, right.
Little cannon.
I know.
That's a pretty magical moment.
Oh yeah. Not to mention, when I was 10, I told my mother that I was Martin Luther King Jr. reincarnated, so it meant even more than you could imagine.
Oh, and today is his day.
I know. It's my day.
It's your day.
Oh. And it all comes around.
Yeah.
Oh,
amazing.
My gosh. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, I have
that was a perfect show.
Yeah, I think that was great.
Show.
That was
nice.
beautiful.
That's how you
that was so fun.
Yeah. Oh, where can people find you?
My God.
So the big important thing that I'm plugging is my first ever comedy special is when is this coming out?
This week.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Tonight.
Oh, perfect. Okay, great. So this Friday or midnight on Thursday, the 24th, I'm dropping my first comedy special for free on YouTube. I have a bunch of really great guest appearances from some of my heroes. I have Colin Quinn, Jim Norton, Bobby Kelly, Rich Voss, and Keith Robinson all agreed to be a part of it in some capacity. You gotta watch to find out what. And I got to film and record at the Village Underground Comedy Cellar, 2 sold out shows. Truly one of the best nights and biggest milestones of my life. And I'm really proud of the special. So just youtube.com, Mike Cannon Comedy. Subscribe now so you can be notified, and please pass it around if you like it, because I'm really proud of it.
Yes, Mike, I must say, is one of the best people you can see live. He is so funny.
Thank you.
It's
Absolutely
so,
killer.
I mean,
I appreciate it.
I'm just thinking of his jokes and I laugh to myself. But yep, catch him live and make sure you get this special. It's gonna be so funny.
I
and I've seen a lot of these jokes. They're killer.
Thank you.
He's a star, baby.
Right back at you.
Oh,
I love your comedy. It's the best.
I love you.
Kaylin's one of the best.
You're one of the best. We're all the best.
We're all the best.
We're all the best.
Yeah, this is the best.
This is
this
very
is the best.
fun. That was very fun. Leif, where can people find you?
You can find me at Bear with Leif on social media. Also, check out the network at Brain Machine Network on all the social media. BrainMachineNetwork.com for all sorts of great stuff. A lot of cool new shows coming our way. Kaylin, where can we find you?
At Caitlin Peluffo, Caitlan Peluffo on all the things. And I have nothing coming up. So, well, I do have stuff coming up. You can look online. It doesn't matter.
Check out online. You need to see her live. You know the deal. She's great.
But more importantly, buy that out. Go see that special.
Check out the album.
Special.
Yeah, it's going to be so good.
It's going to be great. All right. Thank you for listening. We love you. Bye-bye.
Bye.